So, welcome to the Atlanteon Prologue. We are here today with Green, Warforged Cleric, played by Sean, and Villicent, Half-Elf Sorcerer Wizard, played by Tess. They have just returned from the Yuan-Ti city of Asala with the unconscious Chronomancer, the Yuan-Ti Chronomancer known as Mitt, and back to Villie's home of Sylaire and to her parents' apartment at the University of Sylaire.
Parents.
You had restrained the chronomancer for the evening, and had fallen asleep in guest rooms that were next to that were in the that are part of the apartment. Green, as you have no need to sleep, I'm guessing that you're going to remain with Mitt and tend to it and wait for Mitt to awaken.
I I need according to 5e rules, I need 4 hours a day where I'm just immobile
Hmm.
and kind of indistinguishable from a corpse.
Yeah, you'd be just a pile of your armor sitting in the corner, more or less.
Yeah, just like I was when they first saw me. Just this like, why is there a destroyed warforged in the living room? Yeah, no,
Cool.
I'm still aware. I'm still aware of everything, but I'm just immobile for 4 hours a day. But other than that, yeah, I'll just outside of that, I'll just sit and watch the Chronomancer, just hang out and keep an
Okay.
eye on him.
In the main living room of the domicile area of the upper level, you act sitting in a pot on the windowsill is uh is a plant with an incredible life energy to it that entrances you, and and after everyone goes to sleep, you're sitting there observing it, drawn to it. Its energy seems to sing to you, and it seems to shine slightly with its own silvery inner light.
Interesting.
So you study it immobile for about 4 hours, um, at which point at which point uh, you you hear the chronomancer beginning to stir behind you.
Okay, reanimate and
The
greetings.
the chronomancer's breathing has changed, and it begins to sit up.
Greetings.
It looks at you, or Mitt looks at you. He rather he looks at you, and you see one of the with your this with your with you sense one of the rings on that's pierced through his hood begin to glow. Um, and and he his eyes glows similarly with it, and he looks at you, he looks at you and and says, "Ah, your energy your energy is not also not of this world. Your energy I can use as well. Tell me, creature. Tell me, tell me, spirit of growth. Where is it that where is it that you have brought me?"
I do not know.
Mhm. Probably so. You do not appear to be the sort of spirit that concerns itself with mortal things.
I exist to alleviate suffering. Are you in pain or discomfort?
Yes, I am in great pain and discomfort.
How may I assist you?
Ooh, insight check.
Okay.
Oh, and this DC is high.
Oh dear. Insight, insight, insight. Oh. 9.
Oh boy, yeah, he's got you hook, line, and sinker. Um, he's figured you out.
Yeah.
Yes, I suffer greatly. These bonds they chafe. Remove them, and free me, and
I'm afraid
my suffering will be alleviated.
I am capable of healing any wounds the bonds cause. However, I am unable to release you. I fear that you will cause harm to others. You are a danger.
I am only a danger to those who oppose me. I seek to heal the whole world, yet I am restrained from doing so.
It was my understanding when we met earlier, you intended to harm Villicent and Jadwiga. I could not permit that.
Harm them, no. They wish to restore the universe as they know, to restore the world as they know it. I wish to help them do so. I wish to send them to their home, to their home place. Do you not wish to go to your home place, spirit of growth?
I cannot. I am banished from there.
All things are possible with the power of time. Spirit of growth, do you wish to return to your place?
No. I chose to come here, to help. I could not help there.
Hmm. Great help could you be to help me restore the world, to restore the breaking of it, that which threw you to this alien place. Would you heal that breach?
I do not understand. What is broken?
Yes, time is broken, my green friend.
I do not think I can mend that.
No, but I can, and you can enable me to do so. Come,
Hmm.
set me free, and I shall show you how we will set things right.
I am unaware of any difficulty. Perhaps if you explained further, so I might understand.
Yes, release my bonds so that I may draw pictures in the air for you, and I shall explain all. Okay.
Just saying, the Seamus is a high elf, only has to trance for 4 hours. Just saying.
Yeah,
Just saying.
I'm rolling perception checks for all of them, and so far the highest was Elspeth with a 5. By Seamus is dead asleep with a 1.
Oh shit.
Samay
Or dead in a trance.
so,
Uh,
Samay is snoring with a 4, and
uh,
and young
6-year-old Samay comes in. Wait!
and younger Villie is dead out with a 3. So
I'm real sorry, but I think I'm about to do something stupid.
You're in character. You're good.
Very well. Explain this to me, and I'll untie him.
so you remove the bonds that Vishamus had the the bonds of magical nullification that Vishamus had placed on the Chronomancer.
If I know how, if it's some kind of if it's just like tied up, that I can do. But if it's some kind of magical thing, I can't.
It's
I can't.
it's basically another creature has to take them off of him. He can't take them off of himself. Is part of the enchantment of them.
Okay.
You can plainly take them off. Although your spirit hand tingles a little bit when it touches them, as if it's almost as if imagine like two magnets of the same charge being pushed onto each other.
Right. Okay.
So that's kind of like what it feels like. Like it resists your force hand, but you can
Right.
but using your gauntlet hand, you can you can gain the physical pressure to undo it.
Okay.
So the 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 bonds release with a snap, and the chronomancer giggles with glee and begins sinuously uh, stretching itself out. Ah, so much better, so stiff. Ah, sweet relief. All my tendons and muscles feel so much better. And he begins doing an intricate dance, and lights begin appearing around him. Motes of light begin drifting around. The it's still really dark. It's relatively early in the morning. Um, it's actually pre-dawn, uh, and 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 you see a magical lattice beginning to form around him as he begins casting something.
What are you doing?
I am showing you what you requested, spirit
Oh,
of growth. And
okay.
he begins undulating back and forth, and the the lattice begins filling in more and more, and you hear a and you hear and you begin hearing a persistent musical note, uh, slowly getting louder and louder, uh, and oh, when the music starts, we need to do that. By Seamus is out. However, both Villie and Sommet wake up. The door and the door to the door to doors to their rooms open, and two sleepy little girls start they poke their heads out. As well as Villie, you can make a uh, what sort of check do you use to wake up?
Uh, per- perception?
Perception, probably.
Yeah, let's do it as perception.
17 plus lots.
Ooh,
Plus
nice.
5, 23.
So Villie, you are in the middle of a dream. You're in your dream you are back in the moment before back in the moment right before Seamus put you in the ring. In your dream Seamus opens the door, and it's dark. It only there's only a little bit of warm candlelight at, as the door opens, and you see the candle precede him as he comes in, waking you up. You sit up, and Seamus comes in, and first time you've seen him in 2 years, and you and he's hushing you.
Where have you been?
I could only negotiate for you. Well, I could only negotiate to keep you safe. Quickly, quickly, you must come.
What does that mean?
Come, I will show you.
Okay.
Outside you see you see the parade of torches leading up to the temple leading up to the temple of Sylaire, uh, and 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 you see the whole possessed population marching up to the top, and the bubble created around the top of the temple by Sephora as she's trying to hold them off.
Dad, why are the eyes red?
It is of no consequence. It has happened. There's only there's only safety for you.
Why? Why only me? Why not you? Why not Mom?
Your mother has already fallen. I have already fallen. Only you must survive. And you see him, and he begins holding up the ring, and you hear a musical tone as the musical tone begin as he holds up the ring, and you see the stone of the ring begin begin vi- begin glowing in time with the tone, and you startle awake as the ring gets bigger and bigger in your vision, and you notice you're hearing this. You wake up in the bed in the guest room, and you realize you're hearing that same tone, and it's coming from just across the wall from you in the main living area.
And remembering everything that the Chronomancer is here, I run towards that sound.
You run into the room, and you see the Chronomancer with this elaborate geometric pattern of energy around him, looking like look you know the patterns of sand that are placed on a metal plate that are then rung at certain frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like that, but imagine it in four dimensions, glowing around him as he's collecting mana from the local ley lines that converge here at Sylaire.
I call out for the Seamus.
And Green standing right there with the opened
Just
bonds in his
watching.
hands.
And the little version of me is there as well.
The two little girls you notice down the the set you have the central living area, and then you have two hallways that go off to the living to the bedrooms, and then another hallway that goes to like the kitchen and like the work areas and stuff. They're from in a short hallway across the living area from you, and you just see two sleepy heads poking out.
Okay, I'm just imagining being a 11-year-old child and seeing an older version of myself run through a hallway right past me, like what the fuck. Okay. Yeah, I throw open the door. I don't have like hold person or anything, so I just call out the Seamus, Elspeth, and can't counterspell a spell that's already happening. I don't have dispel magic. I draw my bow and I just say, "Stop! Whatever you're doing, stop it!"
You were sleeping with your bow?
Definitely.
So you run back into your room.
No judgment here.
You grab your bow and an arrow, and you come back out. You not and you stretch it. Well, it's not too much of a stretch to say you can jump back into your room, grab it real quick, because the Chronomancer certainly is not going anywhere while he's in the middle of casting. And neither is Green either.
I'm just watching. This is interesting. He said he was going to explain something to me. So okay.
There is no way I don't sleep with my bow.
Green, you see all sorts of intricate patterns and uh, and and fantastic mathematics in the patterns that the magical patterns that the Chronomancer is creating. It indeed looks he's working on shaping some sort of patch for for time.
Would I gauge that as well?
No, no. Green has a completely different forms of perception that you do not. Uh, you do see them. You do see the magical energies, but you don't see how they reach into the universe and across planes and stuff
Yeah.
the same way that green does.
Green, what's he doing?
He is explaining to me how time is broken and how it can be repaired.
Chronomancer, you called me Daughter of Time. If I can help repair it, I'll help repair it.
Yes, yes, help you can. Willing are you? Willing are
But
you to undertake tasks, to repair, to return the world to the way you knew it to be? Is this your wish, daughter of
no,
time?
no. A
Teach.
world with the gods fall? No, absolutely not. And if I'm saying it, you know that it's got to be true because I left everything behind in that world. I don't have dead parents. My family doesn't even exist in this world. And I still will not go back to it. Not the world with cataclysm, with apocalypse, with people getting possessed. That was the world that was broken, not this one.
You hear two little gasps as the two little girls are stand. You turn and you see the two little girls watching you as you say all these things. Elspeth and Vishamus also appear in the doorway. Vishamus takes the two girls back towards the room, and Elspeth comes in, begins stepping cautiously into the room. Her hand slowly coming up into a slightly defensive but disarming posture. And she looks at you and says, "Millicent, what's going on here?"
Seems we misjudged who we should be letting watch the Chronomancer. I'm sorry, Green. I know you don't understand the gravity of this situation.
He
Mitt,
is he is explaining. What is wrong with explaining?
Ooh,
Mitt,
roll green. Roll me a perception check.
22.
Ah, yes, you you made it. Uh, so you look back at the Chronomancer and you notice that the spell that he's casting is now changing. It now appears that before it appears that he was making a splint or a staple of some kind to like pull realities back together. But now that you see the thing that he's made, it's almost like he's hollowing it out to become a reservoir of some kind.
This is not looking like an explanation.
Yeah,
What are you doing?
he says, "You will see shortly, spirit of growth."
You said that there would be an explanation, not that you would do what you intended. I must ask that you stop.
Yes, come. The explanation lies within. Touch, touch the construct I have created, and all will
Green,
be revealed to you, Green.
Green, you
Your
don't
spirit
trust
of
him.
growth. With your 22, you realize that he really, really wants you to step into this lattice that he's created.
Green, don't.
I do not believe that you intend to explain anything. I believe that you have been attempting to manipulate me for an unknown purpose. I cannot permit that.
Ah, come, come, join the spell. There, your presence is required. If I cannot hold it without the addition of your energy. If you do not, then this will drive a spike into time and space here, destroying those who live here. Do you not wish to preserve life? If you do not add your energy here, you will be destroying it. and you see that he's beginning to have the lattice seems to be crystallizing a little bit.
Can I roll an insight check to see if he's telling the truth about that?
You sure go ahead.
Or
Okay.
Arcana.
Oh,
Perhaps
true.
Say
Where
what?
did I put my d20? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I could roll Arcana as well.
Yeah, Arcana
Or,
might actually be better for you.
yeah. That fuck me. That's a 2.
This is a
Which
sort of
is a 9.
you understand the basic geometries of the spell, but you don't really you're not seeing it the same
I
way.
think I'm distracted by Mini-Me and Mini-Me Junior.
You're also not seeing it the way that Green is either.
Mhm.
So I mean, so the things that you're seeing, I mean, are things that you've read in the in in the Chronos Mechanica manual that you found. Um,
Mhm.
you recognize formulae and energetic formations in it from that, but this is like heavy. It's like you read the basic geometry text, and he's doing calculus in the air.
Mhm. Cool.
So you recognize parts of it, but you don't. But what you do recognize is that it appears to be changing and becoming more volatile, whatever the spell is that he's casting.
If losing control means that the domicile will be destroyed, perhaps we should evacuate. You turn to the others and say this.
Elspeth, can you dispel it?
Elspeth Elspeth begin her eyes begin glowing as she summons magic directly from the life energy of the huge tree that you're all in right now. And
Mhm.
you see the walls begin glowing with a paler, more gentle, almost sun-like radiant energy. And it begins flowing into swirls around Elspeth. Um, Green, some of these motes of energy pass through you and become supercharged. Instead of glowing like pale gold, they glow with a bright gold green, almost like a almost like a with almost the going from like a candle to a candle power to a star. Um, and and the ones that pass through you when they begin orbiting Elspeth, they become bright streaks and bands that appear to be augmenting the spell. And she begins creating kind of like a cocoon around around the room that's just kind of like so you've got this lattice that's springing up around the Chronomancer that's kind of beginning to vibrate and looks like it's under like some sort of incredible stress. And then the entire room is whirling in an opposite direction with all of these golden motes around all of you. And it's slowly tightening from the size of the room down to just around her and the Chronomancer, and she's beginning to walk toward him.
I need more spells. Ah!
I am. I'm not entirely sure what the hell is going on,
Same,
but
please.
I'm going to cast Bless on what's her name? Elspeth?
Elspeth,
Elspeth.
I'm going to cast Bless on her because maybe she could use the help.
okay. Are you casting it at any particular level?
Um,
You want to
does
make
it
it a you want to use a higher level spell slot.
does it matter for Bless? I don't think it mattered.
It might make a difference here. It's a little,
Um,
it's a side rule that we can.
oh, you can cast it at a higher spell slot. But the higher levels is just additional targets.
There are additional people in the room.
That's true.
Yeah, bless the little girls,
I don't even see them anymore. They're fine.
I guess. Oh, that is true. Green, the energies are very opaque to you. Villie, the energies are very translucent to you.
Okay.
So you
I
can
don't know.
still see. So Villie can still see what's going on in the room through the swirls of magic, but Green, it's almost like looking through a whirling wall.
So bless. I can bless is one of the spells that I can cast without using a spell slot. So I don't know if I can use a higher slot.
So that is an individual use. So that it's basically casting it as a level one. So as a level one
Oh,
spell slot, that's cool.
okay. So yeah. So just casting it on her.
Okay.
She looks like she could help.
You cast it on her, and you begin casting the magic, and your green tendrils begin of your green smoky energy reach out, and almost kind of like spaghettify, almost like floating yarn in a hurricane, reaching
Whoa.
reaching out, and where they touch Elspeth's energy, the it begins flaring brightly, just like the motes of energy that pass through you. Except now it's kind of like dragging your fingers on a potter's wheel, and you're leaving these bright glowing trailers of supercharged energy in her spell. Um, you feel a momentary pull on your essence that relaxes easily, almost like when someone's drawing blood. You feel the pinprick, and then
Hmm.
it doesn't hurt as much.
Yeah.
So it feels kind of like that. But it supercharges Elspeth's spell. So the glowing wall around you, instead of being made of motes, is now being made of these threads of energy that are harmonizing with both your energy and Elspeth's energy, and the living tree energy that she is harnessing.
And that's gonna kind of snap me into out of panic a little bit, and I'm gonna go and do the same thing. Just freaking overcharge Elspeth. I'm just gonna go over and put my hand on her shoulder and thinking to myself, like, I can't leave her again. Even though I know this isn't the same one, I just, I have to be by her side. So I put my hand on her shoulder and release an Aegis, giving her advantage on Wisdom. I believe it's
Okay, so you really
Druid spell
so
modifier.
so you release your the Aegis rune on your shoulder, flares brightly as the energy passes through your hands into Elspeth's spell as well, the the bright glowing blue of your energy appears to become kind of like a a warp to the energy of Green's woof, and is creating kind of like a virtual fabric across weaving across her entire spell. Elspeth looks at you and gives you a little lopsided grin that you've never seen on her before.
Are you?
And then and then you see her renew her energy into the spell, and it tightens down, and it passes through Green, passes through you, passes through her, and now she's created this whole cocoon around the Chronomancer. And as it gets tighter and tighter, it almost appears to start crystallizing, like like amber.
I have a theory and I don't like it.
she's holding it down, and you can see she's getting to the end of the spell. All the last little tendrils of energy are kind of floating into it, and tying themselves into it. Green, you are especially taken with the skill and ability of Elspeth to manage all of these different tendrils and variables. What appears to you to be variables and vascular energies all at once.
My mommy's kind
Her
of cool.
skill is great.
My mommy's cool.
It's a sort of pure healing energy that she is wielding to do this.
Hmm.
It's abjuration magic. Um,
Cool.
and so she appears to kind of like give a last tug, and she says, "There, he'll remain wrapped up for as long for he'll remain wrapped up until someone releases him again."
I look at Green.
Green, may I have the bonds, please?
Yes. I apparently made an error. I am sorry.
No sorry required, dear. It's simply because you're new here, and she pats you on this on the side of your cheek on your visor. Your visor tingles a little bit where she pats you, because her hand is still kind of a little magically charged and stuff. But it feels like a warming, comforting tingle, not like someone
Ah!
rubbed a balloon on carpet and then zap.
Are you okay, Elspeth?
Well, a bit surprised. Didn't expect to wake up to this. Um, how bizarre.
Incredibly.
Uh, I'm not exactly sure what he was trying to do, but whatever it is, uh, could certainly be studied. The way that he is encapsulated here, you should be able to use something like a gem of seeing, or a or a detailed scrying globe to examine exactly the moment that he's captured in. I'm not 100% certain that he will be caught permanently either, because he is one of the foremost wizards in control of time magic.
Yes.
So this may, while the spell is a permanent type of spell, he may he may find his way out of it.
I'm just afraid of what he'll. It doesn't seem like he's trying to fix time. It seems like he's trying to go back to the broken.
I
I don't know.
I don't
I'm gonna
know.
I'm gonna explain what I saw, what it looked like to me, what he was doing. Or it looked like he was trying to create like a void of some kind. You were saying?
It at first it looked like a kind of splint
Hmm.
to go across causality, but then that splint seemed to be hollowed out and requiring to be filled with something else.
Okay.
With
Yeah.
Yeah,
I share that.
but what? What would some what would a construct of crystalline mana be filled with? And
He was interested in me, my energy.
Yes.
hmm, perhaps he required the pure growth energy that 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 creates you, that animates you. I have a theory. Perhaps, hmm, or perhaps that might be dangerous to you. I don't. I'm not sure how. I'm not sure how the well would. I'm not sure how the well would affect you really.
Did you see the crystallization?
Yes, it
Look,
appeared like it appeared
Amber.
it appeared like it was crystallizing, like it like it was creating crystalline webs, like almost like burning a hole into the magical weave here, like burning a hole so that like to create a knot or a place where the weave cannot slip past itself, where, so the energies cannot flow. They are crystallized and burned into place.
I noticed the amber and it just made me think. I come from a time where there was a very powerful family called the Ambers, and I actually have no recollection of being them. Do I have any recollection of them being specifically associated with amber as the gem, as the crystal?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Not at all.
I mean,
Okay.
there was a there. I mean, they wore amber as part of,
Hmm.
and that's what their house livery color was, and what they decorated a lot of their house and their regalia and stuff with. But aside from that, it wasn't especially prominent in in anything
Okay.
in anything in the world.
A large caveat of the parts of my world that were made different from your world could be seen as connected to a family whose surname was Amber. So when I saw those amber crystals, I don't know, it just got me thinking.
Well, it is a spell of the local area. There's a there's a pot there's a there's a some of the local villagers down at the down in the old part of Sylaire, down at down at the base of the mountain, uh, near the near the near the Fey port. They the, this is a spell a spell that comes from them for encapsulating dangerous things, but they use it so that they can be so that they can be released harmlessly later in a place where they can naturally be, such as
I don't know.
if a bee is coming to threaten your baby, you use it to catch it real quick and then release it somewhere else. It's not
Yes.
meant to be permanent.
I don't know. I just can't shake the feeling that this Chronomancer wasn't trying to repair time. He was trying to go back to some sort of broken one. Because there was nothing. I mean, the previous world was overcome by apocalypse and cataclysm. I don't know why anyone would want to go back there unless it was an easier target.
Perhaps
Or
it is a matter of perspective. Perhaps he had some benefit there that does not have here. It was cataclysm, as you say, but good for his people. I do not know.
perhaps, I don't know,
But if
maybe.
but his people but today his people are fine. If you were going to some cataclysm, so if you were going to a place where there was cataclysm, wouldn't that wouldn't that hurt his people too? All these questions without answers. Hmm. Perhaps if there was a way of seeing where he had come from, or extracting some of his knowledge for our own use.
The Scrying Globe do that?
Perhaps by examining his spell, we may be able to piece it together. By Sheamus!
I was going to say it seems like a question for the James.
And you hear his voice calling from out there. Is it done? And she says, yes, for the moment. Uh, put the girls back to bed. All is well. and you hear some low muttering back there, and and some higher voices kind of sleepily protesting, but not that much. And a couple doors close, and a couple minutes later, Vishamus comes back out into the room. His dark skin is his eyes kind of glow in his face in the dark, and his hair is bright and catches the bit of reflection off of from the energy that the light that green exudes from his glowing energy. He comes into the room and says, "So it appears things have been busy in here. That it's already going to be a busy day.
I'd imagine so.
What is so what? But so I take it Mitch found a way to slip his bonds. Hmm?
He misled me.
Hmm. Such is the way of the wicked. More and more has he been turning to desperate measures
Hmm.
and and self centeredness. I fear such things are happening more frequently in the world."
I don't even know what to do.
Hmm. Elspeth says, perhaps there's a way to inspect what he, what to inspect the spell that he is casting. If we can dissect that, we can divine what his actual motives are and what he was actually attempting to do.
Villie pretends that, like, yes, that is what I meant by I don't need to know what to do, and gets out of her emotional state and tries to.
Right. Okay, Vishamus, do you have any way of analyzing the spell that just happened to try to figure out what was going on? Or what he was thinking where he's been? Maybe we could use a scrying globe.
Uh, yes, perhaps down in the research laboratory. There's a large detailed there's a large finely the greatest magnification possible scrying globe that we own is down there.
I guess perhaps we should use it.
Very
This
well.
does seem to be a great feat to look into.
Very well.
I need to know if he was truly trying to fix something. I need to know if what we did was right or wrong. And if it was wrong, I have to try to fix it.
Perspective, my dear. That which is wrong to one is right to another.
True.
Sorry, my brain went only a Sith deals in absolutes.
So Vishamus puts some slippers on and draws a large woolen robe around him, and and begins begins heading to the central stairwell.
I follow.
Green, are you coming with?
Um, I don't know. I'm gonna just sort of stand there and watch the Chronomancer.
The sorry, I guess Vishamus steps back into the room and says, "Oh yes, I guess we need to bring him with us, don't we?" Elspeth is standing there with her arms crossed, un, with her arms crossed under her chest, looking at him like, "You're expecting me to carry this?" Vishamus steps back in the room. He takes a look at the look on her face, closes his mouth, and dutifully walks over and picks the large chunk of amber up, and she
I
proceeds.
can I can carry that if you wish.
No, this is fine. And he follows Elspeth out of the room.
I guess I'll follow them.
Oh, Vishamus pretending that he's not an inside boy. Funny.
It's not even a particularly large chunk of amber. He's just doesn't have a very high strength.
No, he doesn't. Because
Not a callus on my daddy.
Nope.
oh wait, this one's the different one. Oh, slightly different one.
Well, he's still, some things don't change between.
Still very bookish.
Yes. So
But
he,
not. I'm pretty sure they can hear every bit of this.
so he goes down. He follows Elspeth as they go down the stairs, several floors, probably about 15 to 20 actually, because this starts going down into the roots of the tree, down in the very subterranean depths, where there is the energy to green is just humming with the you can feel the mycelial network out linking the trees and all the forest around for miles, and for the first time you can feel the source of the power that's at the temple right next door. uh, think of it almost um, like being a magnetometer standing next to a warp reactor coil. And that's what the temple feels like to you. It's this huge well of growth energy, um, that shines even greater than the portal to the Fey realm, which is not far away.
It's like being back in the green again. Aww.
Yes, it actually feels very much like a portal to the green. Like, this is a spot where you could jump back in the temple is a spot where you could jump back into the pool.
They won't let me though. Okay.
Even Jar Jar had to go back to Oto Gunga.
Does the temple feel similar to what I remember from my version of it?
Well, you don't really feel any of that energy. This
Okay.
is the part of the way that Green experiences the world.
Oh, okay.
Um, he had he has an alternate an alternate experience of the world from the way everyone else experiences it. Um, you do what Villie feels is that you're going down into the earth. The air smells a little different. Smells a little mustier down here. The walls are it's kind of dug out in spaces where the druids moved the roots to create large voids that were then built in with stone, to create level floors and galleries and stuff like that. So this is very much a combination of a shaped area, but also has been artificed, so to speak. It was grown, but it's also built in. And the room that they take you to has this incredibly large 12-foot diameter pure clear crystal sphere that hangs by no visible means of suspension in the middle of this large in the middle of silver this large silver uh, bound room. And there are it's a the room is chased with a thin layer of silver all the way around. And there are various metal runes that have been inlaid on the different on all the different surfaces of the room. It's heavily faceted, almost like a geodesic sphere. And every little panel has a different type of metal and a different rune on it. Then in the very center, direct about halfway in the 4 feet between the bottom of the floor depression and the bottom of the sphere is this little crystalline cup that that holds up, that appears to be kind of at the focus, and it almost seems like the sphere is gathering the energy, and at the top of this little shaped cup, you see like a little glowing dot. Kind of looks like 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 when the dentists aim the X-rays, and it has the little X that it puts across so they can see exactly where it's aiming. It kind of looks like that, but it's a kind of like a glowing dot of light, of white light. Elspeth Elspeth pulls guides Vishamus underneath this, and she climbs down underneath it because it's only 4 feet underneath this thing. And Vishamus looks at it and he's like, "I'm not bending over to put this thing in there." And Elspeth, being the hippie Earth Mother that she is, she doesn't mind kneeling down and getting down into it. And so she takes the chunk of amber, which is about basketball size, and and puts it on the little pedestal, and then she climbs back out. Vishamus on Vishamus has gone to the wall where there's a where he pulls a, it looks like a small plate of glowing glass that's probably about 1/8 inch thick by about 5 5 inches by 8 inches, say, about like that. And he begins carrying it out, and is touching his and is rolling his finger around on the surface, and 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 you see, as he's touching things, you see different runes on the dome begin glowing in different sequences. Green, you to your eye, you begin to see uh, each of those runes kind of begins to create what appears to be some sort of, almost like a magnetic field that reaches out with magical energies to spray to extend a field of certain frequencies of energy out into the great big crystal sphere. He's essentially tuning what the sphere is going to do.
Okay.
Villie, you just see the runes begin glowing in different in different configurations.
Do I know the rune symbols? Like what they mean?
Some of them you recognize, some of them you've seen before but aren't really sure about. Most of them, most of them are known to you in one way, shape, or form, or another, and they're just different. They're mostly representative of different forms of energy.
Okay. I
But
think I go over with my notebook, or a new notebook, I guess, because I dropped my other one.
there's tens of thousands of them, so
Yeah.
it would
I know.
it would take you
Still,
a while.
just writing a couple of them down.
uh, for those who are looking at the large sphere, you see an image of the amber appear, you know, like it's hanging inside, the image of it is hanging inside the sphere, and the image begins changing and distorting, and you see kind of like the outer shell begin to fall away, then the inner amber begin to leach away, and you begin to see the magical construct, and you see Mitt inside the thing frozen, and the magical construct around him frozen as well, and he begins, and as Vishamus begins tuning, more and more of kind of like the noise of the image goes away, and it's left with just an image of Mitt and the energies. After a few minutes of tuning, you're able to see the large crystalline halo around him, that all appears to be supporting this splint for reality, this hollow splint for reality that appears it appears almost like a telescoping rod, that it seems to have many different shells inside it that are meant to expand and uh, pierce across across different planes, many different mathematical phase shifts of reality, and almost like it pins them together. Kind of like when you have a broken bone, you put a splint over the top of it to hold the rest of it together. Well, think of it like your broken bone is a break between two realities with many other realities in a line across it. So it's almost
But
like the entirety of reality is beginning to fracture and fall away from itself, and he's trying to splint it together. But
is there any?
that splint
Yeah.
appears to appear. It's almost like a balloon that needs to be filled with something in order to make it rigid.
I wonder if there's any chance he was trying to repair time to his liking. Like, not just repair it to how it's supposed to be, like, to borrow your metaphor, like he was fixing a broken bone, but almost like he was putting his own things in there. I mean, I don't know if that's something he could have done with it. It did seem like his intentions were more sinister, and I'm just trying to think what he could have been trying.
Whatever it was, it certainly appears that he was close to finishing it, but he appeared to lack one or two one or two necessary ingredients. Hmm. I wonder what he would have filled this
Seemed like he was trying to fill it originally with me and Yadviga because we come from that different time. Maybe he needed some connection to that different time. And then green is filled with this very unique energy that perhaps could have powered it in some way, so then he shifted his focus to green.
with. Hmm.
Though green, I imagine, is also another good green. Part of different lifetimes in the way Warforged are created. I mean, just by nature, he comes from different places and different things, or they come from different places and different things, right? Green?
Well, there do seem to be a couple of ingredients missing, and he zooms in on one portion of the lattice that appears to be missing like two or three different threads. Um, but it looks like the thing would be filled and then it would be sealed with these couple of other energetic threads of some kind. It appears they appear to be resonant to roll me Arcana checks or any other sort of investigation, any abilities that you have to figure things out from looking at
13 Arcana check, and I've got good Arcana, so I rolled low.
them. Okay.
I'm distracted by emotional trauma.
I'm pretty well out of my depth. I got a 5.
Okay.
Oh, it's all very pretty.
So Green, you're more interested in because to you this looks like the best rock concert ever. You know, it's all, there's so many different fields of energy here that you can't see what the rest of them are seeing in the globe because it's like being shot in the eye with 1,500 lasers. You know.
And I'm just staring at the Seamus like, that's not my dad, that's not my dad, that's not my dad, that's not my dad, it's not my real dad.
Yep. And by Seamus and Elspeth, they're sitting there. Oh yeah, you know they're doing the whole Bones and Spock routine. You know, analyzing
Yeah.
analyzing the different parts. But and oh yes, you know right here it looks like it goes across. This would extend and go out into reality, but it requires some sort of almost unlimited amount of energy of energy input to put in here. And look, this thread right here. If this thread is not placed, then the whole thing will leak out. So this would be like a temporary, but then it would collapse in on itself. So I'm not sure he was complete here. And they're jargoning the whole thing out, and kind of looking like they're enjoying themselves immensely with this. Um, but it's certainly nothing that either of you are able to keep up with. After a few minutes, they after a few minutes they realize that the two of you have not been saying or anything like that. And they say, "Oh, yes. um, well, a few things are clear. Number one is that he did not have all the things that he needed, and number two, that they are that that he that he cannot provide these things himself. He needs to find them somewhere else. This is what we Elspeth says, and further, it appears that only threads of a particular resonance will serve to patch the holes in the spell that he is creating, as well as requiring a significant and almost limitless energy input in order to cause the spell to not fail eventually.
Would that be something that he could have gotten from Green's growth energy, or from me with my runes?
Well,
Maybe.
there are many portals around the entirety of Averone. It is possible that he could have that that if you oh how to explain it. Vaishema says it acts like an electrical current where where it would pierce across between multiple planar gates and short circuit the weave of magic itself. In essence, in essence, creating a creating a grommet across many layers of fabric of reality, not allowing magical energy to flow properly anymore.
Why would somebody of such significant magical power want to do that?
I don't know. The purpose of this spell is still is is still is still hazy. It's only the mechanics are we barely able to begin piecing out. This I mean, this spell will require years of observation if we're able to hold him here that long. If it is even ethical to hold him here that long. He is a being after all. We can't just hold him prisoner without trial or any or any or any sort of knowledge of his situation.
Yes.
I mean, right
He
now,
was so interconnected with his pyramid that he was from. He was so interconnected to it. I was almost sure that he would become something different once we separated him from it, like we did. But it seems he's still either the version of himself that he's showing us is him, or he's still being affected by this system that he created that he was connected to.
Elspeth says, "Well, I did when I helped him build his pyramid, and one of the reasons that he wanted to locate it where it was because the it is in the clear space between many ley lines. So there's it's it's a very quiet area of the weave. It's say a becalmed area, a lee of sorts, and that's why
Yeah.
he located it where he located it. But perhaps he used that area to research his spell so that it would not actually connect with with the flowing rivers of mana of the world, and then he saw that perhaps here he realized that this was a place that he could enact uh, his spell.
Seems seems right.
Well, of course it seems right, young lady. I'm your mother.
And yeah.
The question now is, what do we do about it? Seamus says, yes, sooner or later someone's going to come down to use the lab, and we can hardly keep him prisoner down here. I mean, Mitt is well known to the well known to the wide congress of societies. If he disappears and cannot be reached, there will be inquiries.
Yes, I mean, if he has no access to me or green or the kind of things that would finish his spell, I guess I don't worry so much.
Elspeth looks at you and says, "Well, if you and Green and Jadwiga are each threads, but this requires several. It appears that there are several pieces missing,
6?
as many as 8." And,
Oh, remind me how many.
but
Holland, quit it. Remind me how many people did our ritual thing.
there were. Oh, there was Joe, there was Johnny, there was Jadwiga,
Samson.
Samson, Phaethra, Tor,
Paladin.
Paladun, Amanda.
Gosh.
Yeah, so that's 9.
Okay.
Yes, it appears.
I did.
It appears
eh.
that it appears that there are as many as 8. And Vaishema says, "No, there are 4. Those are opposite ends of the same coil." And she says, "I understand that, but look at but they each have different energies. It's like they need to be woven together somehow." And they start quibbling a little bit over the mechanics of what they're seeing.
Can I just relay to them our ritual? Like, just tell them how we did our ritual. The people involved and what we did to do it.
Perhaps you should relate to them. That way you can be in control of
Okay.
what all you tell them.
Okay. I just feel like I've said this so many times I don't want to like guys.
Well,
but
this is going to be one of the first times that we've actually recorded it. So
oh, true. Okay.
It's a good way. It's a good way to put it on there to get some exposition, but also because your character saw certain things, and everyone's seeing things from different perspectives, and that's part of what y'all are going to have to put together.
Okay. So, obviously, I told you I come from a different timeline where I had different versions of you, different things. The city was attacked. I was put in a ring for, I guess, on the mortal plane would be 2 years. I ended up with these people. We ended up in a situation where we thought that we could bring a series of elements together to complete a ritual that could reverse an element of time. Called the God's Fall. I think that's what we were trying to reverse. That is what we were trying to reverse, but I don't yet know if that's exactly what happened. I don't know how far back we went as far as reversing it. There were several of us. Weapons connected to the Markel family and a family called the Ambers, who had, I guess, significant elements in this cataclysm. In this version of the world, when I look at the Seamus, in this version of the world, you witness cataclysm, the start of it, God's fall. And comets came down from the earth and separated Averone into its own comet. It was before I was born. I believe you said you were a young student at the time.
Yes,
but this is when
no such event has occurred here. That would indeed be a momentous event that would alter timelines.
Yes.
But you said that this event was averted.
Not averted, it was reversed. It happened in my version of the universe. And then we completed a ritual that we thought was going to reverse it, but like I said, could have reversed even more than that. My version of the Seamus and Elspeth were a bit more closed off about their past. I don't even know if I'd be able to compare it to figure out how far back this goes. It's like time moves on a linear plane, but if you break something so big, you make it split. And I'm from just a completely different line. And that's where we were from. But we completed this ritual that was supposed to reverse it. And we did. it was a different world, and I thought I had saved my parents from it, but when they woke up, they were you, but you 2 years from now. But as far as the world goes, I think we did reverse it, but we could have reversed more. We could have broken more. It could have been the wrong decision to make, but at the time, I mean, it seemed like the right decision. This cataclysm involves Grumsh One-Eye, the god of the orcs, I believe. He took over everything. He possessed anybody with any humanity or any pieces of human in them. And I look at Elspeth and I say, he possessed you. He took you over and you killed people in the village. And, Seamus got me out, but I don't know what happened. I don't know if we broke time by. I don't know if this is just, we know about rifts throughout Sylaire that can bring us to different, pockets along a similar timeline, but this is something completely different. I don't know if we've been transported to a universe where none of this happens, or if we ourselves reversed it, got rid of it. It requires further study.
It certainly does. But here, it would appear that one way or another, you and all of those who, for lack of a better word, are expatriates from this other phase shift of reality. It would appear that he requires a thread or a resonance, something from each of you in order to create his spell.
Yes.
I'm not sure if we should allow him, if we should help him, or if we should hinder him.
That's the thing. I just don't know his intentions. They don't seem good. I don't think going back to any part of that world would be good. And like I said, this is coming from somebody who lost everything in that world.
It is curious. It's certainly by this point you all realize that you've been down here examining for several hours, um, and those of you who eat are beginning to get hungry.
I'm good.
And the Chronomancer is
Is
where?
still sitting in the amber under the
Oh, in the amber. Okay.
he's in the amber, which is in the on the examination plate of the giant scrying globe. Sorry. Is there anything that you would like to, while you have it here to examine it, is there any particular thing that you would like to do that you would like to examine on it?
Is the scrying globe connected to the Chronomancer in a similar way that when the scrying globe was connected to me and we were kind of looking through like, would I be able to kind of see where the Chronomancer has been? I kind of want to.
No, it is.
Okay.
It's think of it like a version of a giant scanning electron microscope. It looks at
Okay.
things, but it is not connected to them. It is simply it's simply either it's simply collecting anything that it's giving off, as well as any light that's reflecting off it, but also any emissions that are coming from it, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. I just remembered a thing.
Uh-oh. I think she
Yeah.
got it. I think
No,
she
what?
got it.
No, I don't think I got it because I
Oh.
remembered something completely different. And honestly, spaced about what you just said. So what'd you say? So I can almost get it. So I can try and get it.
It's like a scan. It's not connected to him in any way. It's only reading like emissions and anything that's reflecting off of it. It's a purely passive instrument. It's not like an X-ray machine that passes radiation through to look at it. It's examining it under different wavelengths and different sensitivities.
Mhm.
That then it collates that information into a visual form.
Yeah, the thing I remembered is that I still don't have Alabaster back. And Alabaster happens to have something very important on it.
What was that?
Do you remember I put the skeleton key around his neck?
You did, didn't you?
I did.
And Alabaster has indeed not come back.
No. I think Villie is remembering that.
Do you remember where you left him?
I mean, we were approaching the Chronomancer. It was right before he got sucked into his little thing.
You left him outside. You left him outside the Chronomancer's tower. He's probably still sitting there waiting for you to come out. It's like like taking your dog for a walk, going into Walmart and tying the dog to a pylon outside, and then you go out another door. And
No, I thought we were planning on going in with him. I thought we were planning, like, I planned on going in with him, and then he didn't show up in the little demi-plane or wherever we transported.
No, he did not show up. And he was wearing the skeleton key, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
And he was, well, you're not sure what he is now, but he was a kind of extra dimensional being before, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. Wearing the skeleton key. Going through a portal which, well, everyone else went through a portal which is in a Chronomancer's, leads to a Chronomancer's personal demi-plane.
Do I think that would have, like, hurt him? Like, trying to go through it? Is that what you're trying to say?
You don't know. You don't know.
Fuck me. Okay.
All you know is that he's not with you.
Yeah.
I know.
I think Villie knew that he wasn't with her, but just now processed, like, oh shit, the skeleton key is on him.
Yep.
So I just remembered something. I imagine you have.
Come, let us go. Let us go upstairs. Go upstairs and eat. It is after lunchtime, and the girls must be famished.
Is it safe to be around your version of Villie?
We will tell her that you are a visiting aunt.
Okay. But I mean, dimensionally, time-wise, I'm not going to mess things up by meeting her. I mean, the shame is you study more chronomancy than I have.
Vaishamus says, "Well, from what I understand, different versions of others can be around each other. It's when they are exactly the same at the exact same chronological moment. It's almost like being in phase or out of phase with each
Because
other.
I'm not Villie from the future, I'm Villie from the time.
You are not the Villie at the exact same point in your timeline as she is.
Okay.
But
This is gonna be confusing.
if you meet someone who is at the same point in their time, then, well, theoretically they would mutually annihilate. But who knows how that would work?
Okay.
And Elspeth gives a chuckle. Oh yes, that would be quite awful for them, wouldn't it? Because they haven't seen it happen. So
yeah.
To them it's just theory.
Oh, do I read that from them? They haven't seen it happen?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The sort of, because the first thought that occurs to you is, how can you think that? That it's horrible when that happens to people.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
you realize, oh, yeah, you've never seen that.
Oh, here we go. Wait.
I've actually seen it happen. I mean, my version, you know, when I saw the Seamus and Elspeth from 2 years from now, I had my skeleton key and my roots for my skeleton key. Oh no. You have a skeleton key, right? Seamus.
Seamus stops and turns and says, "How do you know about that?"
Because you gave it to me.
What?
In my timeline.
You could. What?
Yes.
Why would they?
Yes.
How could they?
Because you gave it to me.
But,
because you didn't know where you were going. But Seamus,
Elspeth is looking back and forth between the two of you, increasingly alarmingly, like, "What are you talking about?"
But then it almost got stolen in the Yuan-Ti village, so I put it on Alabaster, and Alabaster's still in the Yuan-Ti village.
Stolen by the Yuan-Ti? What?
No,
what?
It almost got stolen. It almost got stolen. It didn't get stolen, and then I put it on Alabaster for safekeeping, but then I left Alabaster in the Yuan-Ti village.
Elspeth is like, leaving. What? What are you talking about? Seamus? What is she talking about? And Seamus is like,
I believe you are all suffering from low blood sugar and should sit down.
Elspeth, they all stop and everybody stops and looks at Green and Seamus is like, "You are correct. Let's go upstairs and eat, and we shall speak more of this." You climb the many flights of stairs, which Seamus seems a lot easier now that he's not carrying the amber, but it is still like 18 flights of steps going up. So Green is perfectly fine because he doesn't breathe, but the rest of you are all huffing and puffing a little bit after you get.
I'm
up
an
to
indoor
the top.
kid.
Yeah. Seamus seems to be the most used to it because he obviously makes this sort of climb frequently. Elspeth is probably a little bit more comfortable and probably doesn't do the trudge too much. So they
start dimension dooring.
Exactly. Seamus is more of the magic is only to be used when absolutely necessary, and Elspeth is more of the if I can do it with magic and it's going to save me some effort, I'm going to do it.
Villie's definitely Misty Step to the top of a ladder.
Absolutely. So you get back up to the apartment, and it's actually mid-afternoon.
Time flies when you're in the basement.
And she called, and they get inside, and Elspeth calls out, "Girls, girls!" and the girls call from the kitchen, where there is a delightful mess of breakfast spread all over the stone countertop, and the tile floors, and the wooden cabinets, and the warming oven. But there's a 6-year-old and a 11-year-old pair of dark-haired half-elves, dark-haired pale-skinned half-elves with big blue eyes with very satisfied looks on their faces.
We made bread.
Yeah, and
everywhere.
they've got pancakes. They've got pancakes in various forms, spread all over the kitchen on multiple plates. Some of them are a little bit more. Some of them are Mustafar style. Some of them are Hoth. So, but they are very satisfied with themselves.
Rightly so.
So, everybody eats. Are you going to discuss in front of the girls as you eat, or?
I mean, I'd imagine.
I'm sure the girls have questions like so.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm waiting for the question.
The girls seem to accept your presence as no big deal. It's like,
Well,
okay.
yeah, I guess when your little sister's a clone of you, you don't question when another person walks in who clearly is a clone of
What, again? Damn it.
you.
It's just the family resemblance. They're just like, so they're like, so what's your name? Oh wow, that was quite a stumper.
You broke her.
I broke her completely.
Oh.
That was probably the best time to ever seen.
So what's your name? I'm out.
Like the good party.
It was just flat out turned to Mercedes. I can't improv.
Nope.
Before I cut out, I said, Emily, in a very unsure way. Emily.
Elspeth gives you a little bit of side eye and says, "Yes, this is your cousin, Emily, from your father's side.
Yes.
Coming to visit from northeastern Faroes." And they go, cool. Yes, she unfortunately probably will not be staying long, but you'll be seeing a lot of her. So because she'll probably be coming, she'll probably be coming by now and then. Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. And you eat in relative little banter here and forth. And you realize at a certain point that you haven't seen Yadwiga yet. And she was in one of the other guest bedrooms for the night.
Is Yadviga still sleeping?
Because they both look. The two little girls look at each other and go, "Who?" And Vishemus and Elspeth say, "Well, we haven't seen her. I mean, we've been downstairs we were down in the lab most of the morning."
I'll go check on her.
And I get up and start going to the guest room.
You go
That
up
she
and
was
go to
in.
the guest room, and you as you walk past your door, and you see a note stuffed into like the jam.
What does it say?
Screw you guys.
The note says, "Going on an adventure. Don't wait up. Why?" With Y being the letter Y.
Yeah.
Why?
I'm
think
gonna
Villie's
walk away for a minute to go refill my water. You two can discuss which direction you want to go. I'll be right back.
Alrighty.
First of all, any questions about that whole info dump of the ritual we did and all that?
I don't understand any of it. I have no idea what's going on. I'm just kind of along for the ride.
Yep.
Don't understand any of it. No idea what's going on. Some shit about a ritual and God's fall, and I don't know.
It's very confusing. And the little sister, Sumay, she wasn't even in my timeline. I didn't have a little sister in the other timeline. And my parents weren't married. So these guys are different. We did see a little bit. Huh?
It's kind of nice that both me and Green are in kind of the same boat right now. We're both like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Nothing.
I just don't quite know what to do. I do have a theory as to who Mitt is, though I fully think, and I've written it down so when it happens, I can prove that it was my theory. I have written here, theory, Mitt is Stephen or Victor Amber. I'm pretty sure he's Stephen Amber. Steve and Amber Steve and Amber literally confronted the gods to try to get them to fix things or break things. I don't remember. I was too traumatized by family shit.
Mm.
And see, that's the thing with me. It's like all this stuff is going on in the world, but Billie's very focused on or very confused by what's going on with her family, which is I'm actually excited to have her distance herself a little bit from them.
Okay.
Become her own person.
So, so what have y'all decided about how you want to pursue?
I got nothing. I'm just along for the ride. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Okay.
I definitely want to. So we should probably make sure we know where this thing is that Alabaster has. I say, noting the kids and how secretive he seemed to be about the fact that he had a skeleton key.
Yes. I mean, anytime you refer it, I mean, Elspeth looks puzzled and then looks exasperated, then gives some side eye to Vishamus, who's just looking at you like. So he so you finish breakfast and Vishamus says I'm going to go down and check on the lab, and I'll take the amber to safekeeping. And Elspeth says very well. I'll clean the girls up and help clean everything up here. So
And I say to Vishamus, do you want me to come with you? Kind of implying that talk about the key.
yes, certainly I can use all the help I can get. Green, do you wish to come with us, or would you like to stay and help clean?
I will assist with cleaning.
Just an automaton and two tiny little elven girls cleaning up.
Great. So so Villie and Vishamus exit and begin heading downstairs. Green, you and Elspeth are once the you Elspeth and the girls once Vishamus and Villie exit. Uh, Elspeth lets out a deep exasperated breath like. I don't suppose you know what any of that was about. Do you, Green?
I do not.
Hmm, of course not. You are blessed.
I understand very little of what is happening.
Yes, you're blessed. You are blessed with a with a deep unconcern with the passings of us mortals. I must say it. I'm very honored that one of you chose to visit us here. It is a great honor to my family to have you here.
I have come only to alleviate suffering wherever I find it, to heal the injured and sick.
Yes, this is my family's traditional occupation as well as healers. We've looked up to your kind for many centuries.
I am certain they would be honored.
As a matter of fact, there's the temple here is well known for its hospital. We could certainly use your help and expertise if you are willing.
Of course.
Excellent. I shall. I'll take you to the temple later today once Vishamus and Villie return. One of the girls the younger girl Samay looks up at you and says, "Are you the healing god?"
I am not a god.
Hmm. That's weird because she puts her hand, passes it through your forearm and says, "It doesn't look like you're mortal. You must be a god."
I am mortal. I was not, but am now.
The younger Villie says sa- says says oh so you says oh so you're so you were a god, but you decided to but you decided to come to what walk in to walk around in some armor for an armored shell for a little while?
No.
Well, what happens to you then?
For a long time, I watched the suffering of mortals, their pain, and wished to assist, to help, but it was forbidden. So I left. And now I am here.
So you left to come here to help people?
Yes,
Same, the younger one says that sounds that sounds like a really great idea, and 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 Elspeth looks at you and says, yes, it sounds like exactly the same charge that one of your kind gave to my ancestor 300 years ago, and we have been healers ever since. You notice that she's using bits of bits of magic, spinning up little whirlwinds to pull dust up and scrub away some jelly that was on the counter. You know, little bits of magic here and there. She notices you watching her and says, Vishamus would never approve, but what he doesn't know doesn't hurt him, now does it?
I see no harm.
You won't tell him, will you?
Kind of cock my head to the side, not sure what to make of that. I've never been asked that. I do not know. What do you mean?
If he asks you, you won't tell him I was using magic to clean everything up, will you? So May looks up at you and says, "Daddy gets Daddy gets upset when we use magic without needing to."
I do not understand. But if it is important to you, I will remain silent.
So May takes your armored hand and says, "Thank you. That helps." Villie, you and Vishamus leave the apartment and begin walking downstairs. And as soon as the door is closed, he gives you kind of a pointed look, and it's like, and you get, and he waits until you're down a couple of floors before he says, "You have to be careful who you mention things around."
All right, then I speak to him in Sylvan.
Okay.
And I say, sorry, I guess things were different from where I was from where I come from. You gave it to me when I was 11. Your Villie's age.
Where you come from? How many different planes of reality have you skipped?
I don't know. I know I believe I met you 2 years in the future, and then I come from a completely different world where everything's different.
Just as you start as you finish saying that, you notice that there's a couple of elvish students walking up the stairs in front of you.
I cast message and I say, is it still safe to speak here or no?
He said, uh, uh, not really an answer. Vaishima says, yes, but yes, cousin Emily. This is we're on a. I'll show you my classroom I'll show you my classroom shortly. But look at the grand carvings here on the side of the stairway, and he
Exquisite.
he keep he keeps you know banally speaking, you know, yes, look at the great carvings. This is certainly no attempt to deceive anyone that we were talking about something else just a minute ago. Not at all. Are you crazy? Can't bring up the skeleton key at all. You know, speaking in a different language won't make any difference. Everyone here speaks Sylvan. Sylaire for, if we were in Asala or Nipponinawa, there wouldn't be a problem. But
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm being too harsh on you. I can only imagine what you must have gone through. Speaking of this cataclysm, but the skeleton key it's a piece of confidential experimental. I haven't even finished it yet.
Well, that's the problem. I have one of them. I had one of them.
You mean
And
it
now
works?
it's somewhere. Yes.
I finally built something that works.
You've built many things that work. Or at least,
I've been missing a couple of essential ingredients. Much the same as Mitt's spell here. We've been corresponding for some time while we've been attempting to. And yes, the air is lovely above grade, but once you get down to the labs down all the way down in the basement, the air becomes a little bit stuffy. So if you could make some of those wonderful scented pouches that you used to make when you were younger, Mitt and I were corresponding about trying to solve similar problems, but apparently he's solved them as well. But I thought that we were about neck and neck on our research, but apparently this is years more advanced than what I knew he was capable of.
well, this is the myth from 2 years ahead.
So he must have come. Hello?
Yeah.
My microphone just died.
Oh no!
Yeah, so you're probably gonna get bad feedback whenever I am not talking. Give me a second to try and reboot it. How about that? All right.
Testing for echo.
You
No
guys
echo.
hear me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. And it's got everything on both sides. It's getting close to discharging though, so we should wrap up here soon. We're getting close to the end of our session anyway. Um, where was I? Vishamus. So you're about halfway down. You're on the bottom. You're on the bottom floor of the tree before you go down into the sub basements. Did you want to do anything else or change anything of what you're doing before you continue going?
No, I want to continue going to the sub basement.
Okay. And you're now passing the level where we're far past the level where his classroom is as well.
Okay.
It appears that so in a couple of years it would appear that Mitt has found enough of the ingredients to proceed forward in his work.
I guess so.
But
regardless, we need to get. I mean, if the thing is as dangerous as you're saying it is, or as dangerous for people to know about as you say it is, there's one in existence that is now lost, or at least not in my hands. It's an alabaster. You have an alabaster in this world. You gave it to me when I was 13. Oh no, you wouldn't have alabaster.
no, what is
He's a wolf.
What,
He's a wolf. He's my familiar of sorts.
a wolf made of alabaster? Yes.
No, his name is Alabaster.
Oh. Okay, very well.
He gave them to me for my 13th birthday.
Oh, well, then I'm sure I will encounter him any day now then.
Yes. But anyway.
I'll give him your regards when I meet him. Yes, so you say that the skeleton key is in Alabaster's possession?
Yes.
Why would you give the skeleton key to a wolf?
Well, somebody almost stole it from me, and I just thought it would be less conspicuous, hidden under him. In hindsight, maybe not the best idea, but he never left my side before, so I didn't think it was that big of a deal. It's just easier to hide under his brother.
Very well. And 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 where is he now?
In the Yuan-Ti village 2 years from now.
Oh, good.
Exactly.
Uh, very well. Well, then he begins to straighten up and become and his demeanor goes from one of brooding to one of almost cheeriness. And he says, "Well then, that's not a problem for another 2 years. So we shall. So we don't need to worry about that at the moment, now do we? Ha ha ha. That's a problem
Uh,
for future us.
I guess.
Yes,
And
for right now for right now we seem to have our hands full with mitts. So perhaps we can perhaps we can we can turn his heart with promises of freedom,
perhaps.
perhaps. And you get and you get down to the sub basement where the where the examination lab is, and the door is open.
I burst in.
You burst in, and the and the large scrying globe and the geodesic dome are still humming with energy, but you see what appears to be a shattered mass of of amber strewn across the ground underneath
And the Chronomancer? What about the Chronomancer?
it. It is
Any?
nowhere to be seen.
No, 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 no. We shouldn't have left him alone in here.
Says, but but he was encapsulated in your mother's spell. I mean that spell was as permanent as anything can be.
I don't know what to tell you. He's obviously gone. I mean, you should have seen where we came from. His domain was insane. I know Mother's powerful. She's powerful, but what he could do was insane. We shouldn't have left him. This is my fault. I didn't. What are we going to do now?
We must. I don't know. What can we do? And if he has this spell prepared, I mean,
I mean, he needs the ingredients. And if the ingredients are everybody from the ritual, then I mean, we're all in different places. It'll be hard to get to, but still.
But if the if he knows if he's 2 years from the future, then he will not have access to those ingredients for those 2 years either, will he?
Yes,
So we
because
have
in
some.
theory, we didn't arrive for another.
So we've got some time before we've got some time before this becomes a problem. And you said these others were that you had arrived here. They all are also from 2 years in the future.
Sort of. Some of us stayed behind. Others, remind me, I believe, remind me, or correct me if I'm wrong, but Stephen Amber was there. He had essentially a wish spell for all of us. Didn't like 2 or 3 or 4 people wish to go back to their own time, so they're somewhere completely
Yes.
off? Yes. Okay. So at least,
But
you know,
Johnny and Phaethra both wished to go home.
and
However,
for
That was well
Yeah.
timed.
however, Samson and Phaethra, now that you think about it, didn't come with the didn't they came with the rest of you, but they did not. But when everyone started walking
and
towards
Phaedra
them,
was with us, but she disappeared,
when everyone
right?
when everyone wanted when several of them couple of them started walking down the road, several people went in different directions.
Mm-hmm.
And Stephen Amber sent some of them away, then seen then disappeared himself, saying that he had an appointment to keep.
Well, everybody from the ritual, well, most of us were from displacement in time originally. Some of us from the future, some of us from the past. And some of us returned to those times, others didn't. They're all over the place. I don't know how Nick would get his hands on, honestly, even half of us.
I believe that that you and Yadviga, uh, before before you ended up going to Asala, also encountered um, some other alternate time
Oh
things.
yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Do you remember what those were?
Yes. There was a version of Yadviga that was in. Wasn't there royalty involved or something? I was spacing out with family trauma.
Uh,
Uh.
ba- Based, it was a almost Borgified version of Yadviga.
Yeah, and I remember the version of me that was like buffer and but I'm pretty sure it was like from the same age. Like it was another 15-year-old Billy that just looked more capable.
It wasn't a 15-year-old Villie, it was a 17-year-old
What the fuck?
At, at,
uh,
at, at, at the rate y'all are going back and forth in time and changing time, it's any day now. The man with the blue box is going to show up and he's going to be pissed.
Villie. You de-warped the timey-wiminess here.
So waving around the
You're not
screwdriver,
doing?
sonic screwdriver.
Well, the only way to become a Time Lord is to bend time to your will. So
No.
Villie could be the first Gallifreyan for all we know.
Oh God!
Oh
All down
my
here.
God! And as all this is entering my head, I don't know if he needs every single version of us, but there are so many different versions of us. And then I share, and I kind of process like the one I saw in the scrying globe that the Fashima's from 2 years from now. She was taller. She looked. At first, I just thought she just looked better than me. She just looked more powerful. But now I'm thinking, what if she was older? I think she was older. I maybe that. There's so much of this, and I want to study it all. I want to know everything that is happening here. I need to know it so we can help it however we need to.
Perhaps if there was, perhaps if there was some way to send you back to the future.
Okay.
1.21 gigawatts.
I hate you.
I can't cast lightning. Putting that out there.
I hear that I have. It has been my intention recently. I've discovered the name of a rumors of a great artificer among the Jotun named Eitri. It said that
All right, this is all reminiscent of the 2 years from now. Shane is telling me about this Chronomancer that they've heard of. Are we going to my possible death yet again?
well, it is said that Eitri prides himself on being able to build a machine that can create any function that you desire. If if you're to get back if you're to get back to where you left Alabaster, then then perhaps you may need that may be where you might be able to find some help. But I don't know where he lives. I've only just recently read his name in a 200-year-old manuscript.
Is it even safe continuing to travel like this? Is
Anything
it
is
worth it?
possible. So do you,
Am I just going to keep breaking things? I'm supposed to be putting them together. Everybody keeps calling me Daughter of Time. What does that even mean if I can't fix it?
well, perhaps you've not yet learned to fix it. Perhaps you are correct. Perhaps you need to spend some time studying. So with 2 years to prepare, you can come up with almost any solution to any problem. I have faith in you, daughter. If anyone can solve this riddle, you can. But Perhaps it is best. It is best. We must keep you secret. We must find you because Mitt will know where I am. So we need to keep you secret somewhere else in Sylaire, somewhere where he cannot see you or
Do you
Green.
think you'll come after your version of Villie and May? You've got to keep them safe too.
Of course, they will be safe. They will be safe with us. He will not dare to invade here, where he was already captured twice.
Can May do what I can do?
Oh, Somea is a masterpiece, almost almost equal in many ways. In many ways to you. In some ways you are in some ways you are more powerful. In other ways she is. But yes, yes, she is. She has many of the same abilities that you do. But her design was slightly different.
There was no May in my time.
Really. Well then, that is definitely one of the differences between that time and this. Focus on the differences. They will point you in the right direction.
Did you have a sister?
Of a sort. You are as you're walking back upstairs at this point, and he says, "Your mother and I were raised much like brother and sister. Your mother was rescued by my family at the very when we were both relatively young. She was a she was a young girl, and I was barely adolescent.
But there was no other? My version spoke of another, possibly. I don't know. Possibly somebody with magic that was similar to mine.
In the forests,
My Vishamus was paranoid, and
in the great
I
forests to the northeast, which is where my family comes from. It is traditional for families and couples to realign every 200 and every 250 years, so that way it it assists with it assists with avoiding inbreeding and bloodlines becoming stale. So families will change and realign, so that they so that so that children do not so that there aren't many children all sharing the same genetics.
obviously, but I don't know. You said that this thing about those differences, and I'm trying to think of all the secrets that my Vishamus had, and one of them included somewhat of a sister that may or may not have had similar powers to mine, leaving my version of my dad incredibly paranoid about my safety, like she had come to some sort of unfortunate.
Well, I did have a younger sister, but she died when she was very young.
Perhaps that is a difference.
Hmm.
Perhaps something to be investigated.
One of many, perhaps. They may be shrouded now, but at some time all will be made clear. And you're back up to the apartment level. So you should gather your things and take Green with you as well. I sense that he will be of great use. He your and you come into you enter back into the apartment, and the girls are dancing circles around Green, and they have caused flowers to grow up to make a beard around the edge of his around the bottom edge of his helmet, and he's sprouting flowers out of most of the different joints, and they're dancing around him, going yay yay, and using his growth energy, using the energy of growth to uh, to cause all these flowers to bloom around his edge. Elspeth is nowhere to be seen.
You all right, Green?
I am blooming.
Indeed, you are.
Vaishema, Vaishema says, sa- Vaishema disappears out of the kitchen, headed back towards their bed, towards his bedroom. And you're left in there with the girls, and they say, Cousin Emily, come join us in the dance. Toss some seeds. It's so cool. Watch this. And she pulls a couple of seeds off of a piece of bread and tosses them at Green, and one of them spangs off the side of his armor. Another one lands on a joint and begins immediately growing like a small flower out of the side of it, but only on the joints.
Did you learn that from the druids?
Yes, isn't it so awesome?
It's funny. I never listened to them. I always wanted to be in the library with Dad. With my dad, who's very much like Uncle Vashamus. Uncle Vashamus, yes.
They didn't. Neither of the girls caught any of that.
Cool. Good.
They're too busy in their flower dance. Seamus comes back into the room looking slightly alarmed and says, "Girls, where's your mother?" And they said, "Oh, we went out. She went out with the man who came knocking after you left."
Who's that?
I don't know. Mom just said that there was.
What did he look like?
At the door.
Did I see him? Yeah.
Nope.
Did you
Oh,
see?
And I think Villie gets really paranoid and like looks.
Did you see him? Was he human?
No, we.
I did not.
Didn't see.
Did you
him.
catch a name? Any name of it?
And I think I just kind of start going out the door because I think Villie's head is immediately, for some reason, after having the ambers on her head, that's where her head's at. I know it doesn't make sense, but that's where she's at right now.
Okay.
Paranoid.
Green, you're going to remain there with the girls.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. So Villie exits out the front door. But Seamus looks like he wants to follow, but doesn't want to leave the girls alone. So Green and Vishamus are just kind of standing there looking at each other. Vishamus is examining everything as Villie goes out the door.
If you wish to aid in the search, I will remain with the children. They seem amused.
So as Villie exits the door, going out to see if she can see where Elspeth went, and that is where we will wrap it for today.
That was good. That was good.
You guys learned a lot. Learned several things. Now, now it's just a matter of how you choose to put them into action.
Yeah, notes.
I have my theories. I have all caps all my theories written down so that when they happen, I can be like, ha! Like.
Good.